Hello everyone, welcome to my 15th video. This is on Nalanda University and this is the world oldest residential universities established in India. Now it was established in 427 AD and there was the first residential university of the world. Now, it was built 660 years ago before the University of Bologna, which is still operational today. Scholars from all over India as well as from all over the world, they came to this university, stayed there and researched. In fact, knowledge was imparted free of cost to the rightful scholars. The noted scholars of that time was Aryabhatta, the world famous mathematician, Shantikrishna, Nagarjuna and Huyen Tsang, the Chinese scholar. The university has contributed to the knowledge source of the world, and noted among them is the concept of zero, the value of pi and the number value system. Scholars from different parts of the world were attracted to this grand university. They came from far lands like Indonesia, Tibet, Greece, China, Japan, Java, Southeast Asia, Mongolia. And library of this university had not only religious manuscripts, but it had vast amount and collection of books on astronomy, astrophysics, mathematics, medicine, science, and others. In fact, the Tibetan Buddhism is also affected by the traditions and teachings of Nalanda. The Dalai Lama has stated, and if I may quote His Holy Highness, that the Tibetan Buddhism is not an invention of the Tibetan people. Rather, it is quite clear that it is derived from the pure lineage of the tradition of Nalanda. The source of knowledge that we have today is all came from Nalanda. Nalanda was acclaimed Mahavihara, a large Buddhist monastery in the ancient kingdom of Magadha, or the modern day Bihar in India. This site is located about 95 kilometers southeast of Patna near the town of Bihar Sharif, and was a center of learning for from the 5th century current era to 1200 current era. This ancient university was built by King Kumaragupta I in the 5th century. The University of Nalanda obtained significant fame, prestige and relevance during the ancient times and rose to legendary status due to its contribution to the emergence of India as a great power around the 4th century. Today, it's a world famous UNESCO heritage site, but unfortunately, it is in ruins. Huyen Tsang, the Chinese scholar, spent many years in Nalanda in the 7th century current era. He studied Yoga Shastra here under the guidance of the legendary Buddhist scholar Shilabhadra, who was also the vice chancellor of this university. In Huyen Tsang's words, because he has left lots of writings of his visit at Nalanda, he says that this was a flourishing university of a monastic order, where about 2,000 teachers and 10,000 students lived in. Knowledge was imparted free of cost, because it was believed that knowledge should not be sold but given free of cost to the rightful person who deserves it. Now, there were many patrons of this university. We can talk about King Ashoka or Harshavardhan are the most celebrated patrons of this university. Now, Huyen Tsang has written large accounts of the ambience and aesthetics of this university. Nalanda University boasts of an illustrious list of alumni. Nagarjuna, the 2nd century famous philosopher, Aryabhatta and Shila Bhatta are some noted scholars of that time. The establishment of ancient Nalanda as an undisputed seat of learning was of a historical consequence of its context. Ancient Magadha was characterized by an intellectual ferment unlike any known to humanity. The ability to mold multiple discourses and embrace knowledge in its entirety is what made Nalanda uniquely attractive to all seekers of knowledge. The architectural components of Nalanda ruins reveal the holistic nature of knowledge that was sought and imparted at this university. This university was devoted to Buddhist studies, but it also trained scholars in fine arts, medicine, mathematics, astronomy, politics, and the art of warfare. The center had 8 separate compounds, 10 temples, meditation halls, classrooms, lakes, and parks. It had a 9-story library where monks meticulously copied books and documents so that individual scholars could have their own collection. For some 700 years between the 5th and the 12th centuries, Nalanda was a center of scholarship and the Buddhist studies in the ancient world. According to the Chinese scholar Wang Jing, who also studied here, he spent 10 years in this university. There were 8 monastic buildings and 300 apartments in total. Each apartment was a rectangular cell serving as a single and double-seated rooms for monks and scholars. Archaeological evidences and excavations show that there was an octagonal wall well at the site, which shows evidence of community kitchen and common dining areas. They had an effective drainage system and granaries. Each monastic building had its own temple. In this impressive lecture hall's 3 layers of constructions are clearly visible, indicating distinct periods during the reign of King Ashoka, Harshavardhanam, and the Pali kings. A walk in the ruins of this university reminds you of the golden period of the Gupta dynasty in ancient India, in the field of art and architecture, literature, and learning. Nalanda University was considered as the most important center of learning, and it was a matter of great pride and prestige to have studied in this university. Now, Indians are going abroad for higher studies. In those days in ancient India, people from all across the world used to come to India for higher studies. In fact, it is written that in the advanced courses, there were very few students and sometimes there would be only 1 teacher per student. After graduating, these scholars went to seek appointment in the courts of various kings, and they were also invited by different countries for translation purposes. Countries like Java, Japan, China, Korea, and others also called these scholars. So they were given lot of prestige and they were respected by the people at large. Now, many others traveled out to propagate Buddhism, like Padmasambha, a teacher of occult sciences and Yoga Shastra. He went to Tibet, where he established the first monastery, and he started and he was a founder of Lamaism. It is said that Nalanda was a very prosperous city during the life of Lord Buddha, and whenever Buddha visited Nalanda, he used to reside in a mango grove, and he used to give his sermons. So after Buddha's death, King Ashoka built stupas and temples at this spot to commemorate the life of Lord Buddha. The temple is decorated with terracotta figurines of Lord Buddha and was very beautiful in its heydays. It was in 1915 that the excavations for this archaeological site was started, and though we have been able to only cut the first layer, but they are saying there are more layers deep embedded under the earth, and some under the villages also. Now, unfortunately, in the year 1193, this grand university was tortured, brutalized and vandalized by the Islamic fanatic Bakhtiyar Khilji. Now, from Turkey, they burned about 9 million books and they burned them into ashes. It is said that it took more than 3 months for all the books to burn. Remember, there were no printing press at that time. There were no copies of this book, so we have lost a vast knowledge, and this is really a setback for mankind. Now, before this, it was also destroyed twice. First, during the reign of Shankargupta by the Huns, but he rebuilt it and he provided a lot of facilities in the library. Second time, it was again destroyed by the Gaudas in the 7th century during Harshavardhan's rule. Again, it was rebuilt, but after Khilji's torture and brutal assault on the library, it was in total ruins, because all the scholars were killed. The destruction of the temples, monasteries and centers of learning, and Nalanda was responsible for the demise of ancient Indian scientific thought, mathematics, astronomy, alchemy and anatomy. And I'm sorry to say, a lot of knowledge has been lost to humanity, and it is very unfortunate, for it would have benefited the whole mankind today. So with this note, I end my video, and if you have liked my video, which I bring every Thursday on my YouTube channel and on my Instagram account, please don't forget to like, share and subscribe. Thank you so much for your support, your likes and your comments, and this gives me more confidence, and I would love to bring more knowledge before you. Thank you so much.